there are 3 around you now.
Some call this junk. This one also call this junk. Resell it at deep discount.
Not yet, pup. Put in the work, get your rank up.
Hail, Wayfarer. Can I interest you?
I have no idea where the funds for these projects are going to come from, but it's my responsibility to find that funding. Perhaps I should reopen my family's salt mine.
I'm not entirely sure what's going on outside. I doubt it really matters in the grand scope of things. Peasants being peasants, I assume.
I am doing my very best to reconcile the diverse culinary preferences of the Dominion. The Khajiit prefer their food with moon sugar, which doesn't respond well to the aging in wood elf meats. High elves, of course, prefer neither. Impossible!
I suppose a wanderer like you wouldn't know what busy looks like. I will demonstrate. Feel free to observe, quietly and from a distance. Oh, forgive my manners. There's so much to do in preparing for Queen Iren's ratification ceremony. Tempers fray, as I'm sure you can understand. But if Prince Naaman sent you, it must be important. What can I do for you? Why would Prince Naaman care about that? If they are too lazy to build their own embassy, can't they afford an inn? Well, of course, I ordered it done. I hired some wood elves to excavate the stone and set aside supplies for Khajiit to use. It isn't my fault if the locals couldn't do their jobs. Check our storeroom. The Khajiit didn't even bother to pick up the supplies. In the meantime, I'm off to locate Prince Naaman. If he didn't send you here with his blessing, I'll see you face Dominion justice.
I always admired Sirabane. Someday, I hope to be so well known in Altmeri culture as that particular hero sorceress. It shall not, I expect, be through my diligent bookkeeping and efficient management skills that I become so well known.
That's far enough. The storeroom is off limits. Ambassador Tarin weighs orders. She did? That's different then. Show me her orders and I'll stand aside. Then I can't let you inside. Her instructions were very specific. No one gets in without her written permission. I'm to remain at my post until relieved. Except in an emergency, of course. The Khajiits could riot. That would be bad. Very bad. Or a fire, of course. But the chances of that happening are slim. What? Did you hear that? I could have sworn it was my captain calling me away.
Where is the guard? And what are you doing here? I'd expected you would solve problems at the embassy, not cause them. Do you realize what's happening out here? Oh, never mind. Explain what you were doing in that storeroom. Why would she do that? Oh, never mind. Well, what did you find? Typical bureaucratic corruption. I expected better of the ambassador. No matter. Supplies can be replaced. What about the Khajiit embassy? Did she say why construction hasn't begun? What do you mean, collect stone? That should have happened months ago. They should be ready to build it. I'll talk to the ambassador myself. Put the fear of the Dominion into her. I'm surprised we didn't pass each other on the road. Get to those ruins and find that work crew. I want to know why they haven't done their jobs. I won't have Queen Irene's word impugned by someone else's incompetence.
You there. We need to talk. So you're standing over the body of a dead wood elf. Nearly put an arrow in your throat. Good thing I recognize you. King Camoran Eredon had his suspicions about the embassy. Asked me to look into the matter, quietly. We both have a stake in this. We should work together, see where it leads. I know enough. Khajiit owed an embassy. They're angry the High Elves are dragging their feet to build it. Seemed like politics until a dozen stonemasons vanished without a trace. The king sent me to find out why. Before the Dominion, King Camoran Eredon nearly lost a civil war. I came to see if the missing stonemasons were targeted by the Blacksap Rebellion. But Blacksap would have displayed the bodies, not left them as food for Horvor. The king suspects Ambassador Tarinwe has been up to no good. Little things, some of her associations. But he can't accuse his allies of undermining the whole alliance, so he sent me to deal with it. Ambassador Tarinwe used criminals to smuggle supplies. Never directly, but enough for us to notice. I'm not saying she had these stonemasons killed, but I'd like to ask her myself. Problem is, there's nothing we can do while she's in the Altmer embassy. If she left the embassy, she knows someone's onto her. She'll go to ground, try to flee. Have someone smuggle her out of Grotwood. We should probably stop her. Meet me by the Middens, at the base of the Elden Tree. I'll be there shortly.
You saved the Queen. Stars keep you safe.
Can you believe it? Dragons in your own homeland. What are you going to do?
This one does not know, but he thinks his family is safe.
Orcs are all about... I don't guess you've run into a big, lumbering brute of an orc in your travels. Named Storg. Was a friend of mine. Emphasis on the was. I'm in a pile of trouble because of him. Maybe you've heard of the rite of theft. A wood elf tradition. If you pull off a particularly clever theft, you can demand payment from the owner for their things. Well, I stole this tree thane's bow, and then Storg stole the bow from me. The tree thane wants his bow back, and if I can't give it to him, he's gonna have me hauled in and whipped. Last I heard, Storg was headed toward Vine Death Cave. The tree thane won't let me leave town. Could you look for Storg?
They call this place the Middens because it's where all the refuse ends up. We clear them out now and again, but they always come back. Necessary. Spoke with someone I trust. She's definitely here. We should get moving. We're not far behind her. Capture her, bring her in for questioning. Find proof she's behind this so Prince Naaman doesn't explode with outrage. Never thought I'd hunt a high elf ambassador. Smugglers, skooma addicts, and more than a few criminals. They keep to themselves, but sometimes they band together to repel outsiders. Kind of like a filthier version of the Dominion. Our goal is to find Ambassador Tarinway before she buys passage out of Grotwood. Staying in the shadows, avoiding unnecessary conflict. That's what I'd do. But there's a lot of ground to search. I'll follow your lead.
What, are you going to hit me too? You're just like the rest of them, aren't you? Everyone that comes through here, they all hit me.
I wonder sometimes if I'm really here. Not here as in the physical location. The question is more, do I really exist? Do you? Does anyone?
It is so hard to keep one's fur clean in these conditions, but this one has no place else to go. Prince Naaman sent someone to the embassy. We have to leave before we're discovered.
Prince Naaman? We had assurances. How can we make him our puppet if we can't control him?
on your
buoyant
feet.
armigers.
You're coming with me.
Why? Where are you taking me?
To King Camoran Eridan, where you'll answer for crimes against the Dominion.
You'll have me killed and served for dinner.
Only if you're proven guilty. And if you are, none of us could stomach you. Now get moving! Good working with you. I'll take her from here. You should inform the king of the good news.
That was a bit of a warm-up.
Panazir worries much about his new Letty. She sleeps so much these days. Is she sick, this one wonders? Or is it the sleep of sorrow? For we have nothing left but that.
I'll never feel right again.
It just won't stop. Much until I met you.
Is that you? No, you're not my son. If you see him, tell him to come visit me. And to bring my rug.
Some people don't like the bustle of cities, but I come from a big family, so it reminds me of home.
Coremount, isn't it? Don't blame her because you backed the wrong side.
Greetings, Sarah. A moment, if you please. Honor to you and your house, Sarah. My lord de Fear would...
You've returned. What have you learned of the Khajiit embassy? Oh, good. Nothing I enjoy more than talk of conspiracy. Did the ambassador have a manifesto? They usually have manifestos. No matter. I trust you resolved it. Splendid. I'll allow you the honor of informing Prince Naaman. Why not tell him the duly selected High Elf ambassador was working against the very dominion she pledged to support? I'll sit in my throne and try not to gloat.
I brought Ambassador Tarinway into custody. Of course, we can't question her without special permission from the Thalmor Inner Council. Politics.
I heard what you said to the king. Ambassador Tarinway, a traitor, my wife's killer, a loyal servant, and I, Queen Iren's representative in Eldenroot, required to thank you for your efforts. Very well. I'll provide no reason to question my duty to the Dominion. We'll interrogate Ambassador Tarinway until we know the extent of her treason. Then she'll die, as all traitors must. But no matter. Your efficiency in resolving this matter was commendable, and the Dominion rewards its servants. Ambassador Tarinway's betrayal could not have been more absolute. She knew the details of the ratification ceremony, which puts Queen Iren at risk. It's my sister's own fault. She thought to appease the Sylvanar and the Main by agreeing to this foolish process. The ratification ceremony ends with the orrery, an ancient device beneath Eldenroot. It will divine Queen Iren's capacity to become Empress, or some such. But Ambassador Tarinway assisted in the preparations. I must assume she tried to sabotage the proceedings. Doing so would make Queen Iren look weak. No, we must proceed. You've proven your competence, so I'll ask you to speak with Melaras. He's an expert on the orrery and knows what must be done. Quite pleasant once you grow accustomed to the smell. The preparations for this ratification ceremony seem endless, but I'm up to the task. She asked how she could prove herself their rightful leader. The Sylvanar suggested the orrery nonsense, and the Main agreed. Of course, neither will be present to see it, yet my sister is held to her pledge. How unexpected. Khajiiti political excuses are impossible to discern. I know the Main will not be present, and that's all I care to know. As for the Sylvanar, he died on Kenathi's roost. Thought he could negotiate with the filthy sea elves. King Camoran Eredan. It's beneath his city, so there's no turning him away. And myself, of course.
I don't trust this Melaris one bit. He's an obsequious lick-spittle, if you ask me.
Please don't mind Prince Naaman. Ambassador Tarinway's betrayal is a shock to us all.
But no matter, the orrery must work flawlessly for the Queen. That's what we will ensure. Enough to be of service. The orrery hasn't functioned as intended for ages. We planned to use some rather delicate magic to trick it into operation. But if Prince Naaman believes there was sabotage, we must look to an alternative method. Why, we'll look to the past! According to legend, the orrery required a skilled operator, an alien source of power, and a divine spark before it would function. Without all three, it won't do anything but spin. Quite pretty, but not very useful. Conservator Darineth maintains the orrery and has studied the Ayleid monitoring rituals. Unfortunately, she was called away to South Point for a personal matter. If you can locate her and convince her to return, we'll have our operator. I've researched this a bit. Really, you need to be in 3 places at once. Simple, right? But the Fallen Esti winter site is rumored to hold a relic of the Khajiiti thief god. For our purposes, Radchin's mantle will serve as the divine spark, if it's truly there, of course. The Heart of a Numeral originally brought life to the orrery, according to the texts. It long ago went missing, but a member of the local mages guild named Larinalda theorizes it's in a local Ayleid ruin. She's currently at the Reliquary of Stars, seeking the Heart of a Numeral. Wonderful! Have anything you find sent directly to the orrery. Once everything is in place, we can begin the ratification ceremony. And do refrain from referring to Conservator Darineth as a missing element.
I brought Ambassador.
I'm glad this Ambassador Tarinway business is settled. Between the two of us, I'm tired of all this talk of embassies.
Easy. Just put the sword
Damn.
down.
Discovered.
Good timing. You saved my neck, whether you meant to or not. I'm called Perindil, an investigator for the 1st Auradon Marines. I spotted a goblin sneaking into this cave. It was wearing elven armor. I followed it, but I was ambushed by that woman. Maybe, but I prefer facts to speculation. I don't know who she is or why she is in a goblin cave, but I'm not prepared to go in there alone. You willing to help the investigation? I'm going to set up a signal fire outside. Watch your back in here. The goblins are well armed for their breed. All good investigators always have questions to ask. What did you want to know? These caves were an uninhabited gully last I knew. Merchants sometimes used it as a way station to dump illicit cargo before checkpoints, but no one ever laid claim to it. It seems like the goblins found a troubling new use for the place. The easy answer for the Mer is to say none, but that goes beyond hubris. It is plain foolishness. Goblins are extremely difficult to root out. This batch may be some escaped slaves from the mainland. It is not unheard of. These caves were an uninhabited gully last I knew.
No hidden face. Please, Byes is small and only sweeps. Do not hurt Byes. Yes, Chief learn talk, then Byes learn talk from Chief after much time with masters. Byes very wise. But Byes will not talk to you if say not to. Byes just clean shiny things, trophies of old masters. Elf is Nelanya. She make deal with Toothmaw tribe, weapons and armor for help. She even give, what is word? Contract, yes. Elf kings and lords have to accept deal. Contract is in dens, down tunnel. Byes will wait by Chief's den. You will see, Byes tell truth. Byes will not scream for help. Byes promises. Chief take all from homes of old masters. Put here so we see trophies. Trophies of elf masters who wronged us. Byes not forget beatings. Hit, hit, always hit in face. From Big Island, yes. Byes told to muck out dung pits, clean floors, run when small elf masters throw rocks. Chief take us away from all this. Form Toothmaw tribe. Yes. Now we look on trophies to remind us of hardships.
such a fair-fetching price?
Over here. Attack, Khajiit!
You'll never have enough of that.
Jilandar is glad to see a not green face. Khajiit tied himself up and is trying new fur cleaning solution. What does it look like? Khajiit was captured. The goblin snuck off to find carrots, he thinks. Khajiit must taste good with carrots. Untie Khajiit, he has offer for you. Khajiit is flattered the goblins would try to eat him. Thanks. Jilandar sells weapons. He gets snatched along the road and dragged here to be eaten, and he notices that the goblins have shiny high elf weapons and armor that could be resold to the Dominion. Khajiit needs to get back to his boat, though. You find some of the weapon caches here in the gully. Bring them to Jilandar outside by his boat. He will cut you in on profits. It is a bad time for the Dominion, and they will be eager to buy the weapons. Deal?
If you so much as squawk, I will fill you full of arrows. Good, you're here. I found this little runt snooping about. I was just about to put him out of his misery. Let me see that. This doesn't even make sense. I can't think of a court in the land that would take this seriously. The wording isn't even in the goblins' favor. They think this is going to buy them some kind of status? Make no mistake, they are still goblins. Still, if we can break up the Alliance here and now, it will save us much grief. Magnanimous of you. I'll leave you to it then, and go to see if the signal fire brought in any backup. Break up this alliance and find this Nilanya person. See if she likes being threatened with sharp objects.
Pies, go tell Chief you want talk. Pies say you want talk. Talk. Koth is Koth. Pup tell Koth you want speak. Speak. All elves lie. Trick. Elf said there would be trick, but she lied too. Why trust you? Tired of elf speak. All lies. Not want any of you. Just to be left alone. Here. Key to Elf Cave. You kill or not kill her as you want. Koth is done with this mess. Bai's not getting away. Let Bai's alone.
Wait. I don't wish to fight. Let us talk. Hear me out. I've no wish to battle you today. No tricks. You've clearly been able to sneak by or butcher every goblin between the entrance and this room, so I don't fancy my chances in a straight-up fight. I'd rather talk this out. That is, if you can restrain yourself. Courteous of you. My terms are simple. In exchange for my life, I shall quit this cave and leave the goblins to whatever fate you and your Dominion compatriot deem proper. You're even welcome to whatever spoils you find. They were willing and able dupes. From the perspective of many in the Veiled Heritance, we're already losing. It was easy to agitate the goblins against their former masters. We are willing to use whatever tools necessary to even the field. What's the use in dying for this? I don't fancy my chances against you, and the Tooth Maul aren't as useful as I expected them to be. No sense continuing the charade. Hey!
Nothing wrong with a little opportunistic harvesting.
So, you're the one that saved the Queen, eh? You don't look that special.
Reinforcements at last! How did you do? Excellent work. I knew we could count on you. With the reinforcements here, we can see to the goblins as peacefully as we can. There will be restrictions, of course, but their willingness to stay out of the fighting may well save them. I hope the Goblin Chief understands your generosity in sparing him. We'll take charge from here. With any luck, we can relocate Koth and his tribe. And thank you for dealing with Nilanya so I wouldn't have to. I found quite the boon in you.
Ajit has been waiting. You have the weapons? And I've got your payment. Jilandar always keeps some squirreled away in the bottom of the boat. The goblins overlooked it, thankfully. Pleasure doing business with you, and thanks for saving Khajiit. It is good to make profit, especially in times of war. The Dominion will pay a good price for these.
You'd be surprised what bounties the sea provides. Share in the bounty?